Good evening. Welcome to everyone joining us here tonight, both in the live audience and in the broadcast world. It's time to begin our service. Let's do that. Now if I can walk. My name's Dr. Doug Kelley, of course. It's good to have everybody here. We've got a lot of folks with us tonight, both here in the live audience and in the broadcast audience. Tonight we're going to be talking about some interesting topics. I'm going to be talking about critical thinking skills. Dr. Norman Wilson's going to be talking about what love is, so it should be some interesting topics. And then, of course, at the end we'll have our Enspirit time to do that. Spirit of Life is a weekly service and educational program of the International Church of Metaphysical Humanism. Our mission is to explore and enhance the human spirit, as well as to understand the human condition and empower it. So that's kind of what our services are all about. As we get into our topics tonight, I'd like to do our abbreviated principles of belief. The full principles of belief are available on the website at metaphysicalhumanism.org. But our 9 principles of belief are: number 1, do no harm, do right. Number 2, we believe in the indomitable power of the human spirit. The answers we seek already exist within us. Number 3, we believe that we alone are responsible for and capable of solving human social problems. Number 4, we are all equal. One planet, one race, one ancestry, one destiny. Number 5, we recognize and honor the divine energy that exists in all living things. Number 6, we are physical and spiritual beings. Consciousness survives death of the physical body. Number 7, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, and respect for free will creates self-completeness. Number 8, metaphysical education and practical life skills empower the human spirit and enhance the human condition. And number 9, expanding human consciousness leads to human evolution and peaceful coexistence. So again, if you'd like to read more about these principles of belief, metaphysicalhumanism.org is the place to do it. Unless you're here, then you can just look up at the wall. Okay, next up, let's pick a card to serve as tonight's theme. Do a quick shuffle, and we'll be using these toward the end of the program too, and I'll explain what they are at that point. So I'm just going to make some room here, spread them out a little bit, not look. Right. Okay, here it is. Number 31, sacred obligations, is the theme for tonight, which is actually always a good theme, a good expression, because sacred obligations is what we like to do and what we want to do that are ethical. They're moral obligations. So we'll talk more about that later. All right, for the first presentation tonight, I'm going to be talking about how to use critical thinking skills. This is kind of an interesting topic if you haven't gotten into it before. Critical thinking is defined as the mental process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information to reach an answer or conclusion. It's kind of a long, drawn-out thing. Critical thinking basically means thinking for yourself reasonably and honestly. Thinking for yourself reasonably and honestly. Another expression of critical thinking is this, and this is especially true with research-type positions. What are the facts, and what do those facts tell us? All right, we'll be talking more about that a little bit. We all use critical thinking skills daily to one degree or another. Obviously, some folks use them more than others. Here's some examples. We work out a weekly schedule. Maybe we've got to go do some different things. So we think about how it's all going to fit and how it's all going to work together. That's critical thinking. Another one is reviewing a bank statement for errors, or maybe reconciling your bank statement. Another is evaluating a product for purchase, maybe a car. You're going to buy a car, so you look at the kind of cars you want, you compare different models with different features, with reliability and all that stuff that goes into it. Well, that's critical thinking skills. Some things require a higher level of critical thinking, whereas others don't. For example, if you're trying to solve a problem, you're going to use more critical thinking skills, right? If you're trying to figure out which TV program to watch, you're probably not going to use that many. But you might, I guess. Depends on if you're picky or not. So, another thing to remember about critical thinking, when we use the word critical, it's not negative. It's not in the negative sense. In fact, the word critical or criticism is not a negative word. It's actually a neutral word. So many of us, though, kind of think of the negative side of things when we hear critical. You know, you're being negative. But that's not really what the word is. It's just neutral. It depends on the context as to whether it goes negative or positive. So those are some things that critical thinking skills are. Well, let's talk about what they're not. Kind of give a little better definition of them. Critical thinking is not passive thinking. It means really weighing all aspects of a matter before drawing a conclusion. Now, I've talked about that in principle several times from the platform here. Unfortunately, there are far too many people who engage in passive thinking and accept what they hear or read or whatever at face value. And that's not critical thinking. That's just accepting it at face value. And this often causes trouble because in time, the person may figure out that what they were told is not the truth, which can then lead to other problems. This is big within the world of religion. A lot of folks accepted that lock, stock, and barrel. You're looking at one, and then in time, you figured out, wow, this is not true. This is just somebody's idea of reality. It's neither right nor wrong, it's just somebody's idea, but it's not anything from on high. So anyway, you get to that point, and that can lead to existential crises for people and a lot of relationship problems, and it can lead to a lot. So we don't want to think passively. When we hear something, we want to think about it. And I'll get to that. I'm going to tell you right now, we ask, is it true? We'll let that go for just a moment. Another thing that's not critical thinking is dogmatism, being dogmatic. Dogmatic thinking generally means that one holds to specific beliefs without any hard evidence. It's more an arrogant assertion of an opinion is being dogmatic. And people who are dogmatic don't suspend deep-seated beliefs when they're evaluating something. So everything gets evaluated through the lens of their dogmatic thinking, and that's not critical thinking. And that's it's not. Another thing about dogmatism is it usually involves strong emotions. And you know the old principle, right? You can't think clearly when you're emotionally charged, right? So if you're in an argument or something, you want to resolve it, you best to let things settle for a while before you try to settle that argument, because you just be emotionally charged. Blinded by emotion is exactly what that is. Here's another area that's not critical thinking skills, and that's hardcore skeptics and debunkers. I don't know about you, but I watch a lot of documentaries on the various science channels and Nat Geo and different things. These skeptics and debunkers, they like to fancy themselves as critical thinkers, but they're really nothing of the sort. I've talked about this in recent weeks. Belief and disbelief are two sides of the same coin. You can't disbelieve in one thing without believing in something else, correct? It's opposite. So those who disbelieve are still believers. And you get two sides of this, almost two extremes. You've got people on one side who are true blue believers in something, whatever it happens to be. And then you got the other side, and they do not believe in it at all. And it's almost like you got these two extremes. And, you know, we need to be in the middle more. We need to look at things, rationally look at things, think for ourselves, both honestly and rationally and reasonably. These skeptics that appear on some of these documentaries, it could be a documentary about paranormal events or anything that's mysterious, mysteries of the earth, you know, anything like that, UFOs, whatever. And you get a story of a credible eyewitness sighting. Maybe it's a pilot, you know, who's got 30 years under his belt, and they report something, and you got a skeptic who says, oh no, you know, that was the equivalent of swamp gas, right? It's the old swamp gas BS, which is, honestly, it's an insult to anybody's intelligence. But they'll say this, and they're so smug, and it's almost self-righteous. And I look at them and I think, you know, you're not a critical thinker at all. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm just saying that you can't be so sure. I wish I could be so sure of things in life as some of these people pretend to be. But we can't, because the stuff that we deal with metaphysics a lot is unfalsifiable, right? You can't prove it right or wrong, objectively, scientifically, like the scientists want, mainstream science wants. So we have to look at things reasonably. We have to look for nuggets of truth, if you will. We have to look for things that seem plausible and reasonable, and then we can draw a conclusion. That's called inductive reasoning, and I'll talk more about that next week when I follow up this topic with deductive inductive reasoning. But we look at these things and we have to draw a reasonable conclusion based on the facts. Remember, what are the facts and what do those facts tell us? So hardcore skeptics and debunkers are not necessarily critical thinkers. I would like to see for once them just, you know, we got some weird something, some mystery. Well, you know, go look at it. Go tear it apart. Go see what it's all about. Don't just debunk it. Don't just poo-poo it without even looking at it. That's not science. Here's some other traits of non-critical thinkers. They see things in black and white as either or, rather than recognizing a variety of possible understandings. Some things are not so easily explained, right? They're not black or white. There's different shades of gray. Another one, they see questions as yes or no with no subtleties, so again, black or white thinking. They fail to see linkages and complexities. And the next one is related to that. They fail to recognize related elements. This is conceptual thinking. It's the ability to put two and two together. So if you're reading something within the context, a critical thinker will put two and two together. If this is true, then this must be true. Or if this is true, then this can't be true, because they oppose each other. So critical thinkers will look at it, step back a little bit, weigh it. You know, how does this piece of information fit within the context of this over here? And some folks have a real challenge putting two and two together. They have a real challenge with that conceptual critical thinking. Some other ones here, they take their facts as the only relevant ones. So my opinion is the only one that matters. In fact, everybody's entitled to my opinion. They take their own perspective as the only sensible one. They take their goals as the only valid ones. So you can see it's not broad, more self-centered, self-focused. And we don't want to be that with critical thinking. So how do we use critical thinking skills? What can we do to be better critical thinkers? Well, again, when reading or hearing something, just ask yourself, is this true? Just ask yourself that. Is this true? You know, does it sound reasonable? Does it have a ring of truth? Is it far-fetched? Is it hard to swallow? You know, is it illogical? Is it implausible? Is it improbable? Ask those questions of yourself when you think or hear of anything, because there's a lot of stuff out there, isn't there? I mean, you're hearing stuff here every week, and I want you to ask the same thing when you hear it from me too. Think for yourself. You know, it's not my job to think for you, and I don't want that job. We all have to think for ourselves. Take what you want and leave the rest, as the saying goes. But explore it. I tell this to my students all the time. You know, I don't mind if my students disagree with me. Doesn't matter. They can disagree. The only thing I ask of my students, if you think that what I have written on some concept, say reincarnation, for example, if you think that what I've written is wrong, then help me. Show me why. Show me where I'm wrong. Because I'll reconsider it. If I've left something out, I'll reconsider it. Chances are very rare that I've left something out, but hey, it could happen. And I'm hoping to get further details on that. You know, that's why we don't, as metaphysical humanists, that's why we neither believe nor disbelieve in reincarnation. It's up to the individual. You can believe in it if you want. but we have no official standing on it because of other reasons which I've discussed before. As metaphysical humanists, we need to keep our feet on the ground, our head on our shoulders. We don't want to chase fantastic claims out to the fringes of reality and incorporate them, because that keeps us in the clouds. We need to remain objective and sensible and reasonable when we look at these things. I mean, it's fun to go and speculate. You can do that all you want. You can go out and speculate. What if this? What if that? You know, and you might do that with friends and so forth. That's fine. That's not what I'm really addressing here. What I'm addressing is, before we bring it into our own, into our core values, make sure it's reasonable. You know, have a reasonably defensible basis for what you believe. You know, it's like life after death. Do we believe in life after death? Yeah. But we can also reasonably defend that belief. You know, it's, again, what are the facts? What do those facts tell us? We have to put it all together. So you can believe whatever you want, just have a reasonable, defensible basis for it. So as you go out from here on out, you know, reading something, hearing something, ask yourself, is this true? Does it sound right? Does it sound reasonable? Is it plausible? And then make up your own mind. Think for yourself. And that's true of reading as well. Now, next week, I'm going to follow up this subject with part 2, and I'm going to go into the differences between deductive and inductive thinking, explain what those are. Those can be complicated, really complicated. I'm going to try to simplify it greatly for you. But I want to apply those to problem solving, and they really come in handy with problem solving when you can use almost reduce your problem to a mathematical equation. It makes it a lot, you get a different look at it, you get a different angle on it. So we'll be talking about that next week. Okay, next up on the program, we have a guest speaker, Dr. Norman Wilson. Now, this next statement is not aimed at anybody in particular, it's just a general disclaimer. While we are always interested in new and different perspectives, the views of our guest speakers do not necessarily represent the views of the International Church of Metaphysical Humanism. Now, we've, of course, had Dr. Norman Wilson with us a number of times, and an interesting and eloquent speaker, if you ask me. Dr. Wilson has a doctorate in the humanities and holds the position of Professor Emeritus at Polk State College in Winter Haven, Florida. He is the author of a dozen books and over 300 articles published on the internet, ranging from Buddhism to education to shamanism. Dr. Wilson is a certified Reiki master and a member of the Foundation for Shamanic Studies. His website is shamanicmysteries.com. Speaking to us tonight via Skype from his home in Washington State. Dr. Wilson, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kelley. It is my pleasure to be back again, and I appreciate that opportunity. I have 2 questions for you to consider this evening. First, is trust given or is it earned? And second, is love given or is it earned? And since I have 2 questions, I have to confess I have a third one. How are love and trust related or connected? So what does it mean to trust? What does it mean to love? The issue is probably as old as is mankind. It's certainly been around since the days of early philosophers when they began to talk about such things. In the Christian religion, the Old Testament, we're told that Adam trusted Eve. A little later on, we're told that Samson trusted Delilah. And if we move forward a couple of centuries, Julius Caesar trusted Brutus. All of them were betrayed in their relationship. What happens in a relationship when trust is betrayed? What happens? Love flies out the window. It's gone. To love, one must trust another. Violate that trust, it and love may go away and may never come back. And if it does, It may not be on the same sure footing as it was in the past. Can you get it back? Yes, you can. What do you have to do to earn trust and love? You have to work at it, just like you make installments in your banking account. You have to make installments to your love relationship. And you have to give it time to grow interest. I think that's very important. Trust engenders harmony and peace in a relationship. Trust engenders love in a relationship, makes it possible. Dr. Robert Fry reminds us that we need to do all we can do to create a love-based reality. It's quite an order. In doing so, I think we have to be aware of the fact that it's a moment-to-moment affair. It isn't something that you just let go and hope that it's going to stay. You have to work at it. So what is love? The word love has been so misused. You can think of dozens of ways people say, I love something, that we really don't know quite what it means anymore. The muses tell us that love is a many-splendored thing, and it is. They tell us that it's what makes the world go around, and it does. And they tell us it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's true too, but they still haven't said what love is. And neither have the great romantic poets of Byron and Keats and Shelley. So what is love? It's an unconditional commitment. Unconditional. And because it is unconditional, I suspect that a lot of folks have reservations about making such a commitment, that they're hesitant to do so. And so they place restrictions upon love's natural flow. In legal terms, I suppose it's a prenuptial agreement. This is your job in the household. You do the cooking, I'll do the lawn work. Those are restrictions, and they don't work that way. It seems to me that we have to do something here to enhance ourselves as well as our partner. Let me put it this way. A child picks up his toy from the floor and puts it away, and its mother says, "Oh, thank you, honey. Mommy loves you." What is the message? You do something to please somebody to get their love. That's not an unconditional commitment. That message travels all through our adulthood. And I suspect, and strongly so, that just maybe people who are perfectionists, those who are people pleasers, have only experienced conditional love. That they have felt they have to do something to please the other. What a box that is. That's pretty bad, isn't it? I think so. In Christianity, we're told that faith is required to move mountains, but it's worthless without love. In our country, where we have a big thing for philanthropy, giving, if we give without love, it doesn't have any meaning. It lacks spirituality. In love, we give to others because we want to. And it's the same essence of giving that we have to develop within our relationships with one another. When one loves, there's been a choice, an expressed commitment that in turn generates love of oneself. Now, please don't confuse commitment with altruism. Altruism demands that somebody's suffering so you can do something for them. Okay? That is not what an unconditional commitment involves. Somebody doesn't have to suffer for you to do something for them. So I would advise you to be very careful of that and confusing that with love. A giving love enables you to achieve your value within that relationship and in the relationship with other people. Altruism, however, is directed by the fact that others need you to make some kind of a sacrifice. In some cases, maybe even your life. So it's a broad difference. The simple act of giving somebody the benefit of the doubt demonstrates unconditional love. Think about that. A commitment to a personal behavior that derives value from life itself, from the interaction with others. Matthew Fox has said that compassion is not a commandment, but a flow, an overflow of the fullest human and divine energies. That's love. If you want to build a house, and you want to build it out of wood, you need wood and you need space. Within that house, you have to have space, absence of wood. In a loving relationship, it's like building a house. The builder of the love, the wood, brings the space, meaning the values, to that relationship, and then it grows. To do otherwise results in failure. It results in a relationship that won't last. You cannot be as shifting sand in a relationship and have any degree of permanence. If you are, you're going to lose it. You won't even have a chance to savor its delicacy, to taste it, or to even hold it for a time. It's that magical. The late syndicated columnist Jim Bishop wrote an inspiring essay called Love Something Apart. And in it, he said that love is giving. Love is the unification of two people into one. It is being possessed and possessing. And then this one is the kicker. He says it's the only thing that has to be resurrected every day. How many of you work on your love every day? Love allows us to experience life and to connect in a positive way. Denying the existence of love, choosing to ignore it, denies your spirituality. And I think that's the sin. Denying your spirituality is a damnation of all that is humane. Buddhists tell us to pay careful attention to the other person, to listen to what is actually being said so that we can recognize the source of what is being felt. If you do that, you can and will respond with care and compassion. And isn't that love? Of course it is. In closing, I would like to share one other comment by the late Swami, Hindu Swami Vivekananda. He wrote, "Real existence, real knowledge, and real love are eternally connected, one with the other. Where one is, the other two must be." Love is, after all, a magnificent obsession, isn't it? and I should know I just celebrated my 48th year anniversary. All right? I would like you to join with me now and create your hands in a pyramid and bring your hands to your heart chakra and bring the divine energy that is within you and bring it forward to your mouths and gently blow that wonderful love into the universe with me now. Coming back to Namaste, and thank you so very much.
Dr. Wilson, great presentation as always. Thank you, and
Thank you very
I
much.
love that little touch.
My pleasure.
Very, very well done. We love you, man. Yeah, and happy anniversary too. Yeah, very good. So, all right, everybody's waving goodbye to him. Okay, always nice to have him. Different way. I like it. Okay, next up, some announcements. Last weekend we had our second annual graduation ceremony for our school, Institute of Metaphysical Humanistic Science. We had 30 graduates from six countries, and it was a nice time, and it was fun, and it was encouraging. So, congratulations again to all of our graduates, and those of you who haven't graduated yet, we have next year, so you can do it then too. All right, thank you also to everyone, both here and abroad, for your kind donations. It helps make the lights go on and different things like that. Makes the world go around, this world. Next week's program, as I'd already mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the subject, using critical thinking skills to solve life's problems. And then Dr. Hunter is going to do a second part to her previous one a week or two ago, Body, Thought, Memory Integration Part 2, how to change body memory, and it will include a meditation. So next week she'll be doing the guided meditation for it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. I don't think so. I can always plug, One Planet Community. If you're a member of any of our programs, you can join oneplanetcommunity.com. So it's a Facebook-like private network. It allows you to connect with other people of like mind. All right, let's get into our Enspirit open forum. To do that, we'll do our guided meditation, and then after we do that, Dr. Vicki Hunter will join us to do the second part of that. So find yourself in a comfortable place. Just kind of get loose and relaxed. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold on to it to the middle count of 3, and just release it slowly and feel your body settle. Feels so good to just take a moment and relax. Nobody wants anything, no demands, not at this moment. Take another deep breath. Allow your eyes to close if they're still open. And as you exhale, just exhale stress. Breathe in goodness. Exhale negativity. As you continue to focus on the rhythm of your breathing, the music and my voice, I wonder if you can imagine that beautiful ball of light right above your head, your soul light. That's the essence of you, your higher self. See it right there above your head, glowing, tentacles of electricity reaching out and connecting with every other living thing in the universe, interacting. And now see this beautiful ball of light, your soul light, come right on down into the middle of your being, lighting up your entire body with beautiful, nurturing energy. It feels so good to feel the warmth of that light that is you. Visualize that light touching every part of your body. And as it touches every part of your body, it regenerates you. It heals you, it nurtures you. And importantly, it nurtures your spirit. It builds you up because you realize that you have all the power you need within you to accomplish anything you want. You are enough. You are every bit as much worthy of the good things in life as anyone else, no more, no less. And as you see yourself, you begin to raise. You begin to stand tall. You lift your head higher, knowing that you are a universal being, completely deserving of the good things in life. Another deep breath. And just let that energy permeate every part of your being, every fiber of your body. And the beautiful thing is that even when we conclude this, you will take that wonderful feeling with you. It will continue to work to keep you uplifted and encouraged. I'm going to count to 3, and as I do, I want you to maintain that feeling. 1, coming just a little more to present awareness, understanding that that soul light will take its normal place above your head whenever you want it to. 2, feeling so refreshed, lighter. 3, eyes open wide, feeling very good, and you'll take this with you the rest of the evening and even tomorrow. It's there for whenever you want it. You can do this visualization at any time, and it's yours. All right, let's go ahead and bring Dr. Vicki Hunter into the mix. And I'm sure she will have some thoughts on our theme card, which was
I do. I have it right
32,
here.
wasn't it?
Sacred Obligations.
Sacred Obligations. We'll turn it up.
You know, for those who are tuning in for the first time, we have the Inner Oracle Self-Discovery cards, and it is available at the ICMH website. You can order your own deck. We encourage you to do that because the donations go right back into the church. But these are wonderful little gems and tidbits that were put together, and, you know, they're just wonderful. I love them. A sacred obligation is a sacrosanct duty that any higher being would render for the highest good of all concerned. Sacred obligations include do no harm, do right, pay it forward, uphold individual value, value all life, extend tolerance and equality, control and change only what one is entitled to control and change, evolve and grow as a human being with higher awareness, promote knowledge, not fear, and more. Continue to aspire to your highest good by recognizing and fulfilling your sacred obligations. So that is right in line with everything that we've been talking about, you know, even from critical thinking to determining what you believe is love for yourself and how love is to act. And those are all sacred obligations. So it's a wonderful theme to have. I love this card. Actually, it's one of my favorites because it encompasses everything.
Very good. And of course, our sacred obligations for metaphysical humanism are do no harm, do right, reclaim your power, attune your life leadership paragon. 4 is pay it forward, and 5 is deliver your greatness. That's just a quick rundown. They're on the wall here, so I'm reading them. They'll be on the website too. Before we get into the cards, anyone care to make a statement, have an impression, want to have an attaboy, have anything before we get into the cards? Okay. Nada. Okay, so would anybody care for a self-discovery card poll?
Audience gets first privilege.
Karen would.
Here we go.
The third one from that hand.
You want the third one from this side. She's telling me which card she wants. Okay, this is for Karen. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. It's number 18, Evolution.
Ah, Karen.
Now
Karen.
you've done it.
Evolution is the driving force of all life. Change is always afoot. Be aware and participate in the evolution of present energies that change situations. Resistance to change is born from fear of losing control. Resistance to change prolongs discomfort, but fear not. Personal growth and enlightenment are sure to result in the wake of your own evolution and that of life around you. Thus, entropy is lowered. So it would be like a little message to you that there is this rites of passage and some kind of evolution occurring in your life right now. So I'd say that's a really positive reinforcement.
Does that make sense?
That's a good one.
Cool. I guess you chose the right one, huh? Do we have anybody in the chat room that wants a? Juliet would like a card.
Yeah, it's nice to have Juliet with us in the
Yes.
chat room tonight.
She's from the
All right,
land down
meditate.
under,
Go do your thing,
from
Doug.
Australia. All right,
Dr. Kelley.
I am getting her card right now. It's over here.
Okay.
It's a wild card number 6, entropy.
Ah. You know, we just used that word. Now, how
Yeah.
interesting is that? I think in all of our shows, I don't think we've pulled these two cards. You know
I don't
that?
think we've had those, no.
No.
Well, I think we've
Within
had
the cycle
evolution,
of
not
life,
entropy.
there are useful energies. Now, that's low entropy. That can wane to uselessness, which is high entropy. Their energy stands still and their entropy increases. They no longer give value to the evolution of life. This can include an attitude or a behavior that requires adjustment to once again take a new step in renewal and birth, thus lowering one's entropy. When one seeks to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem, that one lowers his or her personal entropy and the world is a better place. So that's it really is about useful and useless energy, so that your frequency and your vibration changes. And so I'd say for Juliet that this is a really good time that she's finding useful energies and putting them into action. I think it's a great one.
And just in case some don't quite know what entropy is, it simply means going back to the dust. It's a state of disorder. Things go back to a state of disorder. You know, that's really all it means. You know, you have a car, it gets old and rusts, you know, goes away. That's entropy. So when something wears out quickly, that's high entropy. When something the mic's on. Okay, let me just repeat that. Entropy means going back to the dust. That's what it means. If something wears out, a product wears out quickly, that's high entropy. If it's very durable and it takes a long time to wear out, that's low entropy. So obviously with us as spiritual beings, we want low entropy. We don't want to wear out. And that gets right back into critical thinking, and it goes back to our sacred obligations.
And sometimes it's very helpful to carry a dictionary.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, we're back. Are we back? Good. Apparently my batteries in my mic went dead, and we just replaced them
You know,
overnight.
for all the shows that we've done, we've hardly had any technical difficulties at all.
High entropy?
So we're doing fabulous.
Yeah, there's a good example. Maybe that's the universe. High entropy batteries there. Okay,
There you
so
go.
Carlin pulled a card, and it's the wild card number 8, and it's freedom. I like that card. Freedom.
It's right here. Freedom is a state of being. It is unencumbered. It is an unencumbered mind that can remain open and move forward. Freedom is the ability to recreate the self, shedding old ideas that no longer serve any purpose for present and future evolution. Freedom is the knowing of who and what one is as a free and sovereign being of the universe. Freedom means one can be or do anything one wants within the limits of the do no harm and do right. Freedom is this internal understanding that you are yourself. You are your own mind. You are the manager of your own mind, the controller of your own mind. You have the freedom to be and express everything that you want. Again, within the confines of living in a coexisting place of humanity. So I think that that's a really powerful statement to you, that coming into, it's like a flower, you know, just coming into a newfound freedom in your own mind. I think it's great.
And does that resonate with you? You know, the thing about these cards is we put the little verbiage in the guidebook to kind of give an idea of what it's about. But really what it boils down to is what do you think it's about? What does it mean to you within your own personal unique experience? And it's, again, designed to get you thinking. And that's what these inner oracle cards are for. They're designed to just get you thinking and expand your thinking. That's what they're for. Who's next up in the chat room, Tina? Jenny would like a card, okay? Okay. Which card, Jenny? Right in the middle, she says. Oh no, I'm hearing voices again. This is number 8. This is number 18, Evolution. And I've shuffled it through 2 or 3 times since then. Evolution.
Isn't that interesting?
What
There's
are the
a
odds
commonality
of
or
pulling
a
that card
thread. See, there's certain things that do come about, and that message that we read earlier, you know, it's the driving force of all life and change is afoot. So if, you know, Jenny can relate to that, you know, we are in quantum entanglement, you know, we're all connected, and when we come together in a group, there's going to be a vibe or some kind of frequency that we're crossing over each other, you know, and so that it's not a real big surprise to me anymore that certain cards would reoccur or come up again on the same evening. So good for her. So who is next on our list?
Okay, Shirley is next on our list.
Ah, Shirley. Nice to see Shirley.
Mm-hmm. I'm just seeing what the spirit grabs me, you know. Just
That's
kidding.
it.
It's the end one. Number 45, Inspiration, Motivation. Number 45.
Ah, Shirley. I'm going to find this one. You know, this is it's a really important message to understand where that comes from. Inspiration and motivation come from hope, right? And hope is an energy. Motivation means finding a meaningful reason to do something. Look within for inspiration, leading to motivation by reflecting on your goals and the life you want to live. Drive and accomplishment may be missing from your life, or your life may revolve too heavily around it. Remain balanced, inspired, and motivated with the vigor of positive energy. And it really is about finding and reigniting that hopefulness that you have. And all kinds of ideas and inspiration come as a result of that. So maybe it's just a little message to Shirley about that. Or it could easily be that Shirley's already on that path and this is the reinforcement for her.
Good points. Good. Anybody else here in the audience want another one? Would you like to pick one? Oh, you want? She wants me to pick the 27th card. You pick it.
Oh, Phyllis, you're funny. Make him count. Make him do it.
Are you sure that's the 27th? Okay, this is wild card number 3.
Doug, I want you to count those cards now to see if it's number 27.
It's blocks. Wild card number 3, blocks.
Wild card
the
number 3.
Energy at hand is outside the norm.
There's a time for movement.
You, of course.
There's a time for movement and a time to sit still. What may seem like blocks could be an opportunity. We've had this one come up before. So an opportunity to reevaluate while allowing the universe to open new doorways. At times, we simply need to get out of our own way in order for events to unfold as they should. It can feel like free-falling. I love that word. Don't you love that word? It can feel like free-falling when a leap of faith is required. If blocks continue, it may be a time for a new direction. Do not dismay. Blockages serve purposes. Diligence and insight is required. Remain open. So I hope you can relate to that at some level, Phyllis.
Good.
Good.
She
Okay.
says yes.
She's nodding.
She's not throwing anything at you or me.
Oh, good.
All right. Anyone else here?
I'm
care
not
for a
worried
card?
about me. I'm a long. You'd have to throw that rock a
Can't
long
reach
way.
her. Anyone else in the chat room, Tina? Okay. If anyone's interested in getting a deck of these cards, you can go to metaphysicalhumanism.org, look for the store, and you can find them there. If you're local, we carry some here at the center. They're $30 for a deck. There's 54 cards plus a guidebook in them. So just saying. Anything you want to conclude with? Go ahead, Vicki.
Yeah, I would like to say that the purpose of using any kind of media, any kind of tool, is to stimulate the psyche, to stimulate our consciousness, to give us ideas. Even when I use the tarot, that's my midpoint between the worlds, or that bridge in between higher consciousness and my own consciousness. And, I think a lot of people here can relate to using different kinds of cards. This is designed specifically to be internal. It speaks to your own higher self, your own subconscious, unconscious consciousness. And it's not, it can certainly be used as a tool if people are working with others in counseling, but really it's to have dialogue with ourselves. So I think that any kind of tool that encourages dialogue with yourself, with other people, and all the other people out there that don't have bodies that we know of here, and that's good. I think that that's a wonderful, exciting thing. So I encourage everybody. I'm just doing a big sales pitch here for you, Doug. I love these cards.
These cards, actually, we developed them. They cover everything we teach in the, big points, the bigger points. Everything we teach in the IMHS degree program. So, and our principles of belief, and they're cool, too. I mean, that's just a bonus.
And
they're cool.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They look neat. I mean, they're good looking. If I do say so myself. I am a little biased, you understand, and I admit that.
Well, you designed them.
Well, yeah, and you and I.
Above all else, everyone, if I can say, find your humor. In that Sacred Obligations is also about your humor. Self-study, studying the world, and the world can be a very serious place. There's a really important point to make about lightening up. Lighten up in yourself, lighten up in your work, lighten up. And in that lightening up, there's a joy, there's a happiness, there's a connectedness. Because, as Dr. Norman was talking earlier, it's about love and where we connect in love. Love doesn't connect in stress. Love connects in just lightening up and coming from your heart. So, and all the other New Age guru stuff, all the people want to be really serious and take it all serious, I go, cough, sputter. I want to lighten up.
Cough,
so just
sputter.
lighten up.
Thank you, Dr. Vicki. All right, folks, we're done a little bit sooner this evening, but we'll take that as a sign from the gods, right? No? Okay, it's just a sign. It's not even a sign, it's just what it is. Next week, again, join us. We'll continue the conversation on critical thinking skills. Dr. Vicki will be talking about body-mind integration, mental experience.
That's a good one. It's a wonderful meditation. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is. And it's her own stuff. This is her own approach, so it's good stuff. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight, both physically and in our broadcast audience. Thanks to Michael Kelley for engineering our broadcast, to Tina Balderrama for moderating the chat room, and of course to Dr. Vicki for being part of this. Dr. Norman Wilson, thanks again for being part of our service. We welcome you back anytime. Until next week, listen, think, learn, grow,